Hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering a spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHB +3. Those +3 spells are homebrew spells. We're at +2 at the moment. You can back and playlist to find them. And today's spell is Prismatic Spray. 7th level evocation, casting time of 1 action, range of self, 60-foot cone, components variable somatic, duration instantaneous. 8 multicolored rays of light flash from your hand. Each ray is a different color and has a different power and purpose. For each creature in a 60-foot cone must make a dexterity saving throw. For each target, roll a d8 to determine which color ray affects it. Alright, so some of these have a variety of effects, so we'll stop and go through them individually, but I have a feeling that the first 5 are going to be quick. Red, the target takes 10d6 fire damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. I mean, 10d6 fire flavored, and that's going to be a theme. Orange, the target takes 10d6 acid damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. When it comes to these damages, it's less a single target spell because it's a 60-foot cone, and you don't just have 8 shots based off the abilities, so it's 10d6 to an entire area within a 60-foot cone, unless it's one of the additional effects. Yellow, the target takes 10d6 lightning damage on a failed save or has much damage on a successful one. The only downside of these is the fact that you can't choose what damage type you're doing against the creature, so they might have a resistance, and it might not be the best, or you can't exploit a vulnerability they have. Green, the target takes 10d6 poison damage on a failed save or has much damage on a successful one. See, that's what I mean, one of them's poison damage. A lot of creatures are immune to that. Blue, the target takes 10d6 cold damage on a failed save or has much damage on a successful one. And that's the last of the damages. The other 3 effects are, well, we'll get to them. A slight downside of the spell is the fact that you can't pick. It's a little unreliable. I mean, it's still decent. It's massive damage alongside some of the additional effects we're about to talk about, but not being able to pick the damage, especially when you're using a spell slot that high, and it might just be resisted or blocked with immunity, that might hurt. Indigo, on a failed save, the target is restrained, then must make a constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. If it successfully saves 3 times, the spell ends. If it fails its save 3 times, it permanently turns to stone and is subjected to the petrified condition. Keep track of both until the target collects 3 of a kind. So, for a damage evocation spell, that's pretty nasty to have flesh to stone baked into it. I mean, everything I said that goes with flesh to stone is baked into that, but the issue with this one is it's rolled. As in whether the effect actually hits. Though that's one benefit, this is a dex save instead of a con. The initial save, that is. Violet, on a failed save, the target is blinded. It must then make a wisdom saving throw at the start of your next turn. A successful save ends the blindness. If it fails that save, the creature is transported to another plane of existence of the DM's choosing and is no longer blinded. Typically, a creature that is on a plane that isn't its home plane is banished home, while other creatures are usually cast into the astral or ethereal planes. What? What? I forgot about this. I thought this was just blind. I thought the 7th effect was just blind. Like, just the blind condition, and that's it. It's a baked-in banishment, but the best kind. It's the baked-in plane shift banishment. That's ridiculous. A 60-foot cone! Yes, it's one of 8 options, but one of those options is re-roll, essentially. The chance of and it's of the DM's choice as well, so you don't need a specific tuning fork. And it's the one dex save. Well, no, it's 2 saves. It's the dex save and then the wisdom save. But no touch spell, that's a 60-foot cone. Oh my god. Depending on, I mean, you can't rig the dice with any mechanic I can think of, but if you somehow rolled all 7s for every target in that 60-foot cone. Oh man. Special, the target is struck by 2 rays. Roll twice more, re-rolling any 8. And that's what I mean by the damage dice potentially being really good. Now also, it's just re-rolling that specific colored ray. You can get 2 reds, or you can get 2 oranges, or 2 indigos, 2 violets. I don't know why you'd want those stacked, but it'd be funny. Or you can have a violet and a damage, and etc. So potentially 20 d6. Or a permanent banishment to the hells. Or abyss. Or permanently turn to stone. Like, really, those last 3 effects are the really good ones. And even then, 10d6 spread across a 60-foot cone as a 7th level is alright, but for the chance of either potentially turning something to stone permanently and at least restraining them for those rounds, and then also just sending something permanently to the abyss, or somewhere else, plane of water, you don't get a choice, the DM gets the choice, but it doesn't need a tuning fork. Yes, it gives a typical thing of the astral or ethereal, or a home plane if it's not there, but you could have fun with this. 6 out of 10. because while it has great options, you have to roll for the effects, so it's a little unreliable. And even then, the majority of those are just damage, and it's a damage type you can't pick using a 7th level spell. That hurts a bit. Still, if it goes right and your luck's with you. Wow.